Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Girls Who Print podcast. I'm Deborah Corn, the executive director of Girls Who Print. And today I am joined by Maya Gao. She is known as Maya G, the chief of operations at High Res Transfers and One Stop for Printing, two South Florida companies specializing in apparel, decoration, branding, signage, and print production for everyone from entrepreneurs and schools to major brands and private label partners. With more than 15 years in print, Maya G has built her business by embracing new technologies, solving customer challenges, and leading a production operation that combines creativity with operational excellence. Along the way, she's become an advocate for education, mentorship, and proving that leadership in print isn't defined by who you are, but what you build. Today, we are going to talk about entrepreneurship, innovation, production, and what it takes to build a successful business while helping others do the same. Welcome to the show, Maya G.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So we have an origin story, and I love an origin story. And it is that we were both at International Sign Association Sign Expo this year in Orlando. And you were in the learning lounge where Will Crabtree, my co-host on the Printer Chat podcast, and I were doing a presentation about what we saw at the show. And we got to talking after and decided to keep in touch. Well, actually, you were very proactive, and I was very happy about that because, look, I'm not being disrespectful. I meet a lot of people at shows. You know, I have a lot of business cards in my pocket, and I sort of go through them at the end. But the smart people, everybody out there, find me first and say, hi, remember we talked about this? So Maya G did that, and boom, here we are on a little podcast video situation. So thank you so much for being diligent and following up.
Yes, it was definitely my pleasure talking to you. And I think what intrigued me the most was you guys were very knowledgeable. You knew a lot, and of course had a lot of years in printing and media. So I was just kind of like, I generally don't really approach the speakers unless I really feel like they have something to offer, and I'm really curious about them.
Well, I appreciate that. We also picked a good subject, which was just what we saw that we thought was cool walking around the show and different. So it makes sense that would be something that resonated with you because you're that type of person. Speaking of which, we had had a preliminary phone call before we jumped on here, and you told me that you did not grow up planning to own a printing company. So can you share what first pulled you in and what made you decide to build it as your business?
I think really to answer that question, what pulled me into becoming a printer was really working with vendors that were just not flexible. And, in the world of printing, when I first started, it was like cookie cutter. It was either you got it screen printed or you use a vinyl cutter and did vinyl. Those were the two options that was available for garments. And then, some sublimation, but even with sublimation, there's sort of limitation when you were dealing with like dark garments and that sort of thing. So, I think it was one printer. He was very difficult to work with. It's almost like I was dreading to have to interact with him whenever I needed to get something done for my client. Yeah. And I think I needed to get like a 2-color something done, and I just needed like 3 pieces. And he's like, well, Maya, I already told you if we're doing 2 colors, it has to be 2 dozen or whatever. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, yo, there gotta be another way. Like, this cannot be the way, and I'm just one of those people that if I know Deborah does this, I'm going to try to bring that type of business to Deborah. I'm not going to become Deborah's competitor. I'm just not that person. So if Deborah has an embroidery machine, I have a DTG machine, I feel like we can collab together.
Love.
And that's how I was looking at it at the time. But he wasn't really trying to work with me. So needless to say, I became his competition.
I mean, you have to do what you have to do. And it's, that translates to so many areas of print where, printers, a lot of printers don't like to do one thing. Although when you get in more into the apparel and stuff like that, I guess it's more tailored for, I just need one hat or something. But
For
there's a
sure.
lot of printers out there who are like, if you just need one hat, go to the, 1-800, .com, get me a hat.
Right.
But when you need 50 or 100, come back to me. And it
But
is,
but
yeah.
see, the thing is, like, we like, running my business now, we only really do wholesale. We don't really do retail. And if a client comes to do retail, they get charged like our minimum price.
Mhm.
So I think that at the time, because we're talking about back in 2014, 2015, so the technology was a little bit different. So even if you told me, hey, the sample's gonna, I'm gonna charge you $50 for the sample, that's my choice whether or not I want to pay for it.
Mhm.
But to just your attitude and not wanting to collab when I'm trying to bring you business, because I had a photo studio and salon, first brick and mortar that I'd opened, and it was doing pretty good, and I got into graphics. It was just like by accident, because I've been doing graphics, my whole life. So I just felt like, I can have him as a vendor. I don't have to buy machines. I don't have to be involved, and he can just help me get that done. It didn't work out that way.
Well, bad for him, good for you, right?
For
That's how
sure,
it
for
worked
sure,
out.
for
Oh,
sure.
okay. So you sent me your bio, and there was a pretty fantastic stat on there, which said that high res transfers produce more than 900,000 inches of transfers while maintaining an error rate below 1%.
It was crazy. Oh my God. We pulled that number. I didn't do the numbers for 2025, but I did the numbers for 2024. And 2024, we did almost a million inches in DTF transfers. And that's not counting any decorative transfers. We're talking about just straight regular transfers. We're not counting glitter, foil, and all the other transfers that we offer. And that particular client that we printed for, who was part of those numbers, their rate is, in order for you to stay as a provider, you have to stay below 2%. So it's already difficult to be as a vendor for them. So yeah, we were able to maintain that rate. So yeah, we were doing a lot of printing. 2024 was crazy.
But I want to know, what is the secret to maintaining that level of quality as, your production grows?
So honestly, it has to do with consistency. It has to do with process. So I have a team of 4 people, and one person review the file, and they'll flag it if the file is not printable, if there's any problem, any errors, whatever. Then that person who, he also sets it up for it to be printed. My printing operator is responsible to do quality control on everything that he prints. My team, they're like partners, right? They're not just employees. They are partners. They understand that if the business loses money, they lose money because it has to do with their review. It has to do with their possibly making more money. They understand the vision and the progress of high res and one stop. If the company doesn't move, they don't move. They get that. And I think honestly, it's really how you treat your people. When you get them to understand what you're doing, what's the vision, you get them to buy into the vision, it's like they see it as their own thing. Like, I think that's the secret. The secret is if the employees really want to be here, if they want to
Yeah.
work with you, and you don't treat them as employees, you treat them as your teammates, because that's what they are. They're not just machines trying to do work.
Right. So when you get a new piece of equipment, and or developing the processes, is the whole team involved for what works best for them, or is it what works best for the business?
It's what works best for the business always. And every procedure and every process is explained to them so they have an understanding on why things are set up a certain way. We do numbers that bigger shop than us do. And the reason we're able to do it with, very small staff for 2 reasons. One, if the market tanks, I don't have to lay off anybody. I don't have to fire anybody. And then 2, everybody can be constantly proactively doing something. There's no lagging time, right? So not only are we doing that many inches in DTF, we're also doing stickers on average, on an average day. I mean, average week, we do about 60,000 linear inches and stickers. I mean, we do a lot of stickers. So not only we're doing that, we're also doing assembly. Some days we might get like 500 shirts that have to go out, 200. It depends, and that's all being done with the same staff. So I think it has to do with the SOP that I have in place and, constantly checking in with them, see where their mental is at, see where they're at. And my team, I trained them personally. They didn't come in with any bad habits from anywhere else. So they learned it the way that I wanted them to learn it. And then also I have, applications that I've developed that maintain our supplies, our procedures, all of that is all done behind the scenes. So they can stay in order and I don't even have to be involved. Like, wow. I don't even know what we did today because I wasn't involved.
I mean, isn't that the best?
It's the best. It's the best. And I always tell people, if a company is failing, you got to look at the leader.
Yeah. I mean, my mother always worked and was always like the head of something. And she told me when I became the head of something and I was hiring people, she said, the best advice I can give you is don't hire anyone who doesn't want your job.
Facts. And yeah, I think they both do.
Because they're gonna just be like, "What can I do next? Teach me more," And
that's exactly what it is.
They are like that,
That's sometimes, exactly what it is.
Sometimes it's lovely, and sometimes it's like, "Okay, I see what you're trying to do, but I'm not going anywhere yet." So everybody, just calm down a bit for a second there. Okay. I just want to ask you one question about stickers, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Because it's such a popular application. But a lot of times, at least in the more commercial side of printing, the printers see it specifically as a consumer application. Like if you're hooked up to a Shutterfly or something like that, you could print stickers all day long. But are there like B2B applications for stickers that you've seen? So just tell me about the B2B applications if you've seen any.
So with stickers, what I'm noticing that a lot of businesses are using stickers on bags. They're using it on cups because, they may not want to get 100. It may be too expensive for them to get 100 cup printed on. So I see them using that a lot. Like we have like maybe 3 clients here in Florida that they do about 5,000 little QR codes a week. And I'm like, what are they using these QR codes for? That's a lot of QR codes.
Yeah,
and
what are they using them for?
Yeah, they're about like no clue, because all we do is print, pack, and go. That's all we do. So I think the business side is getting involved with stickers because it's helping them to cut out the whole getting 10,000 cups done, 10,000 bags done if they don't need it. So if they just want to keep that boutique look going and they want to have their logo, they're just getting stickers and spending, 10, 15 cents per sticker, whatever it is, and then just going that route.
Yeah, it makes total sense. So as a woman leading a production and a business in a traditionally male-dominated industry, what have you learned about earning respect and building confidence? Although something tells me the confidence was there for you.
Oh my God! I've been asked several times if I was in the military. And
my God, that is a very good assumption that because you're like a process person. I want you to come here and process me up. Trust me.
I think what it has to do is really has to do with my upbringing with my parents, because my dad is very disciplined. He's a Gemini. He's very intelligent. He's very strict. And my mom is very ambitious. My parents together, they were like a power couple. Like they're always wanting to get to the next thing. So I think for me, I learned the leadership skills. I feel like I was born that way, but it kind of got the support from the both of them to kind of see what you have today. Working in a male-dominated place as a woman is only challenging if you as a woman have not really found yourself. and you're not comfortable and confident enough to show up like you should. The only thing men can honestly probably compete with and beat most women is physical activities. When it comes to mental discipline, consistency, we can go toe to toe. So when I got into business, I understood that I was getting into a space that was male dominated. So if I was going to try to be in the space and stay there, I had to be amazing, and I had to know a lot. And because most of my clients, when I first started at the time, were mostly male, they had to feel like I'm more than competent. Like if I go on and I'm quoting for a sign and the sign is like on top of a building or something, they're looking at me, they're like, what you know about that? You know what I
What are you
mean?
gonna do?
Exactly. But once you start talking and you start, showing what you know, then they kind of look like, huh, okay, I didn't see that coming. So I love it. I love being in a male dominated industry because I've loved printing my whole life since I was a kid. So I don't see it as a hindrance, but I do see why it was a male dominated industry for such a long time. It's very technical. I've had to get my hands dirty replacing parts on the machine and all of that. And if you're the type of woman that's like, oh my God, I don't want to get dirty, printing is not for you.
Right. Or you stay in sales and marketing and you stay out of the press room if
Absolutely.
you have to. Recently, for one of the girls who print on demand videos that we made, we talked about confidence and something I wanted to really explore from like the behavioral science and not the sociology side of it, right?
Got it. Mm-hmm.
And what I took away from it was something very interesting that I had read. And it was that when people say he or she is a natural born leader, right? And then what behavioral science is saying is, yeah, that's not actually true. Everybody is born exactly the same, but it's the feedback you get along the way that gives you the confidence to either keep doing something or stop doing something.
Absolutely.
Like being a stand-up comedian. Like there's only so many times you're going to go before you're like, all right, I'm not funny. I tried, but nobody's laughing, right?
For sure.
So I want to talk about the times that you might have questioned if you like something came at you and you're like, man, am I in the right space for this? Why does this keep coming up as an obstacle for me? And then how did you get over it?
I would say around 2016, 17, I quit my government job and decided to go full throttle with printing. And I blew most of my 401k, right? Trying to figure it out. And I was just getting discouraged. It's like you're making the money, but it's like the money's going right out the door. You're doing the sales, but there's no money. And any printer or anybody who's an entrepreneur will tell you you're gonna take a lot of blows. And I think what happened was I quit the government in 2014. I decided that I was going to go full throttle for 5 years. If by 5 years I was not making, at least X amount, I was out. I was going to be out and that was going to be that, right? So 2014, I got out. I had already had my business from 2010, but we're doing other things. 2014, I decided to get rid of everything and just focus on printing. I got the DTG and all of that. I called one of my friends and I'm like, man, I don't know about this printing thing, man. Like money's not coming in. Like I'm eating at my piggy bank. Like I'm broke. Like I'm like, when I was working, I never was like this, like I was making good money. Luckily for me, I have my house and I bought my house a gazillion years ago. So my mortgage is not crazy. And I'm like, man, I think I'm going to have to get a job or something because this is tough. And she's like, so if you quit, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. She said, but printing is you. Like that's who you are. You're a printer. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not. And mind you, Deborah, people are closing their shop left and right all over, right? And I think I prayed about it. The next day I came to my office, and a client came in. I can't remember, like, she said that she was just driving by, and then the Holy Spirit or something told her to stop in, and she stopped in, and we talked. And I don't know, like, after that conversation, I was good. Like, it was almost like the light bulb came on.
Yeah.
Like, you just gonna have to keep pushing. And I think, like, once I changed my mind that quitting was not the option, at least not, if you quit because you don't want to do this anymore, not because you're broke.
I mean, that's a good reason to quit too, but
Facts.
but
But the
yeah,
thing
I
is, like,
mean,
when you're really good at something, like, you're undeniably, like, the best at something, you can push through.
you can, but you believe that about yourself, which is
Yeah.
the thing that, a lot of women do not. There's this imposter syndrome thing. There's the the fact that women and women of color even more have to have 3 times the qualifications of a gentleman. So all of that, really is incredible that you were just like, I know that I'm good at this, and now I just need to get better at the things that let other people know I'm good at this.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, I survived the first 5, 6 years based on madness. There was no, like, there was no rhyme or reason on how I survived it. It was straight madness. If I was to try to pull it together now, it wouldn't work out. But the way I survived, and I always had somebody on payroll, they always got their money. I was never late on paying nobody, but I survived straight up, straight madness. Like, when I look back and I'm like, yo, what, how did you even do that? But yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, not that confidence is big, and especially even if you have imposter syndrome, if others believe that you can, it even empowers you to be able to do it.
Totally.
So it's like, I don't have to convince them. I have to convince myself.
Yes.
So if I get in the room with them, it's half the battle because I don't have to convince them. They see me, they're like, yeah, you could do it.
It's so interesting you say that because, as an entrepreneur, I guess selling things, although I don't really think that I sell things, but I guess I do. I mean, there's podcasts and there's other things, or
for sure.
But when I don't consider myself a salesperson, and you trust me, like, leaving a voicemail, no, I cannot. I will be talking about, like, everything but, do you want to work with me? I'm saying this because if somebody comes to me, I'm like right there. Like,
Right.
Because I don't have to audition anymore. I don't have to prove the value. The value was proven in some way, and now they want to explore more, or how that our relationship could be beneficial in some way. So you're absolutely right. If enough of those people come to you and you recognize it and you really hear what they're saying about why they came to you, and then if you have the fortitude, as you do, to take that on and say, I'm going to believe what people are saying about me, then you end up with a successful business.
Yeah, it's always that. It's just, I think it was Jay-Z that said it well. Like, he said if he was gonna go based on what he believed about himself, he wouldn't be Jay-Z. It was his surrounding, his entourage. They believed in him more than he believed in himself. And I think sometimes we need that. Yes, we could show up and we have that look about us that people, some people could have foresight over us and be like, man, I see you doing this. And you're like, and you're like, thank you. But in your mind, you're going like, yeah, okay. So I think that luckily for me, I knew what I wanted. I'm very disciplined naturally. And, it took one conversation. Some people need a whole entourage. It was a conversation from one person, 1 or 2 people, and I was good. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep pushing, and eventually my turn will come, and it did.
Incredible. Beyond running your business, you're passionate about mentoring young people and helping other entrepreneurs navigate branding and production. What do you hope that they learn from you that has nothing to do with printing besides confidence, which everybody should learn from you?
Thank you. One thing I feel like everybody can learn from me is being relentless.
Hmm.
I don't believe in mediocre anything. Like if it has to be your absolute best. And if you're being mentored by me, I'm gonna challenge you every time. So I think one thing that my team have shared with me that it's like I'm very relentless. Like you can't, there's no. Like if you come to me and say, oh, Miss Maya, I can't do it. Okay, so what's the fix? What did you come up with? What's the solution? So I think it's like just no cannot be the final answer. So I think that's what they could learn from me.
I love it. My first job in advertising, the first thing I learned was you can never say no. Does not matter. You have to say, let me check on that and I'll get right back to you. That's it. You were
It's
not, if
facts.
you said no, you could set the agency into a complete upheaval where people go home because they don't think they have to stay and you need to call them back to the office. So that is absolutely fantastic advice. I am so glad that we ran into each other at Sign Expo, and
Same here.
everything you need to connect with Maya G will be in the show notes. Any final words to the global Girls Who Print audience?
What I will say is don't follow trend. I would say follow the road that leads to your true heart desire. You may be inspired by printing, but you could take some of the gems that we're dropping in printing, women in print, and take it towards something else. Because what I'm noticing is when we follow trend and we don't have somebody else to copy, it's not original from us. There's no honey at the end. Right? There's only a honey at the end, like I guess a bowl of gold or whatever you want to call it at the end when you follow your heart. And I think that I followed my heart and it led me to where I'm at now. And I'm very happy to be here.
And I'll add one thing to that if you don't mind. Follow your heart authentically. That matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you again so much. Thanks to everybody for watching or listening. And until next time, empower long and prosper.